and just repurpose them. So you'll see. Now I hired a virtual assistant. I've had him for over 2 years now. I gave him the summer off, and I'm just repurposing stuff. It's more economical, it's less time consuming, and you can just repurpose, change wording. You've got more people each month on your social media platforms, right? You're meeting more people. Look what Clubhouse has done. It has expanded our horizons. And that's kind of what I wanted to share for that. And I'm getting invited on more podcasts, and it's helping. Being on podcast shows is helping me to craft my message. It's helping me to be more succinct. It's up leveling my communication skills, and it's allowing me to showcase who I am, what I do. So I'm going to land my plane there, repurpose stuff. You never know who's going to click on it, watch it, and say, "Wow, I've been in rooms with her. I've listened to her on a podcast," and they'll see what you're about. Thank you. This is Prof T, and hey, Dom, thanks for your encouragement. Always glad to see your remarks to my posts, and I hope that you feel the love and the digital currency right back at you. Prof T, over and out. Thanks.
What a term. Why I do feel the love, Prof T, and what a term, digital currency. I wonder the value of that digital currency. And we got Tom's back in the house here. He started our live stream. I see him. He looks good today. He always looks good in his picture, but he's got his hat's camouflage today, a little different than usual. And he's looking fit, ready for his Ironman race. But we will continue. We're going to get we're going to talk about all these tips and like the repurposing thing. Love it. So we're going to dig deep into that. But we got to meet Smiling Tom over here. And when is this race, Tom? He's been posting for 140 days. I don't think there ever is a race. I just think he likes to talk about this race. So what do you got?
It's coming. I promise. Yeah, no, it's a week from Sunday. So yeah, the race is coming up on a week from Sunday. It's August 21st is the race day. And so I actually won't be here next Wednesday. I'll already be up in Canada. I'm going up a few days early before the race. Yeah, so it's close. It's close. And actually the reason I was a couple of minutes late is because I'm doing my best to adhere as well as I can to my training schedule, especially, coming into that home stretch. And so I was out doing a 2-hour bike ride this morning. So I got out of the house at about 6:30, went up to the trail and got on the trail and started riding. But yeah, so that's why I was a couple of minutes late this morning. I was just getting back from a bike ride, and then I got to go do a swim around lunchtime when I get a break in the day. So yeah, so not letting up. And for anybody who's interested, whether it's me or anybody else, if you're curious to see how I do, or you ever have a friend that runs an Ironman, their tracking app is actually really good for a tracking app. It's not perfect. It has hiccups, but it's good for a tracking app. And so if you just download the Ironman tracking app from either the Google Store or the App Store on Apple, you can track any athletes you want, including me. So you can follow my progress there on the 21st. If you've been following my vlog, then you can follow and see how the training's paid off on the 21st. But yeah, that's why I was running a couple of minutes late today. So I appreciate your patience, Dom.
Well, I want to see you cross that finish line after watching these videos, seeing you in your cat suit, seeing you in your tank tops and all that. I'm in, man. I'm invested.
It's still not a cat suit.
I'm gonna make TikToks of Tom in his special outfit, and
it's called a tri-suit. It's called a tri-suit. You can call it a tri-suit. It's not a cat suit.
Okay, in his tri-suit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about this. Prof T brought up the idea of repurposing content. Prof T, since you started this, I'm going to go back to you. Just tell us the basic concept of repurposing content for people that might not know, might not do it. What does that mean to you? I love it, but I just want to hear from the professor. So that's going to be good. I just want to call her the professor from now on. Go on, Prof T.
Thank you. Yeah, look forward to getting back into the classroom actually. Just because of COVID, everything's been online and virtual, and I took off a semester or two, so I'm looking forward to getting back actually into the classroom face to face with my students, Prof T and students. Repurposing for me is just reusing the content that I've had and putting it on your social media and just changing some of the words and using the same content. For me, it's voiceovers that I've had done. It is posts that I've had professionally made. It is my LinkedIn articles that I might have posted or wrote, and just repurposing them. And even pictures, just reminding people of who you are, keeping yourself relevant, keeping your face in the place. That's repurposing content for me. I hope that helps. Is that what you're asking?
Prof T, excellent, and that's what I wanted to know, and I wanted to dig into this and something I believe in so much. Here's a piece of content that you made 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a month ago. Let's talk about all the things that could hurt that piece of content on that day. Maybe you posted it on a Saturday morning and they didn't look at it in the first hour because you posted it too early. Maybe you posted it and showed too much of your leg, and it was a great message. And this is actually, the algorithms will hurt you if you post like a picture of a child or picture of your leg or something like that. So maybe you could change the picture and share the same message. Maybe it was the day of the week. Maybe it's a YouTube video and YouTube catalogs the videos at a certain time of day. So if you post at the wrong time of day on the YouTube, it, you could have hurt your virility, I guess is the word for it. So there's so many. Is that the right word for that, Tom? That seems weird.
Virality.
Virality. Okay.
Yeah.
Virility. So that's a different room.
Virility is a different room. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Virality.
Okay. Virality. Okay. So then sometimes comments, like on a TikTok, if you have more comments early on, especially LinkedIn does that as well. More comments early on, more engagement, then they'll share it to more of your followers, out to more people. So repurpose that content. Julie, what say you? Then Tom, what say you about it? Teach us.
What say me? And this is something that I haven't heard. I don't hear talked about a lot on Clubhouse. And I want to say hi to Jimmy Blanco,
Hey,
Michael, Dr. Tachi's in the house. So what I do want to say is that one of the best tools, and what do we all want to do? We all want to beef up our website hits and build our email list so we have a curated audience. And we're spread all over the world on all the different social media. It can get flooded down with algorithms and that sort of thing. And I love the tip about your virility, by the way. And the replays are on, so I love that. I'm gonna have to clip that one down. But one thing people don't talk about as much is Pinterest. And Pinterest is a great way to repurpose everything. And you can use pins over and over and over again because it's not like the same audience will be seeing it. And what's great about Pinterest is everybody is in a discoverable mood. Like you go there to look up recipes, to be inspired, to learn how to start a business, learn how to, shoot a video, learn how to write a book, learn, to be motivated. And it's so easy to just click on the pin and it takes you right to it. I feel like it's very overlooked. It is the third search engine. It goes Google, then YouTube, and then Pinterest. But I have had great success. It's like you just have to create pins correctly. But you can repurpose so many things on Pinterest, and I love it. And it does get quite a lot of traffic my way on my website. So that's just my tip and kind of repurposing.
Excellent, Julie. Thank you. And think about the hashtags on that. Sometimes you may have had a guest on on your podcast that now all of a sudden they made it to the top of baseball, or they're a professional wrestler, or something happened with them in the media and people are looking them up and stuff. You share the same interview and use those trending hashtags in regard to the content that you produced. Wow. Hey, Tom, go on. Where are you at with all this?
All right. So I think, Dom, we've talked about this before. We've talked about it here in the room before, but for folks that haven't been here for a similar conversation, or to hear me sort of rant about this, here's my 2 cents. Always repurpose your content. It is 100% the single best way to get the best bang for your buck, to get the best out of your time investment in developing the content that you create. The biggest hurdle I think that people face when it comes to this strategy is the fact that they feel like they're repeating themselves. They feel like they're being stale if they're reusing and repurposing content. And the fact of the matter is that just because it's familiar to you doesn't mean that everybody who needs to see it has seen it before, right? It's going to be new to a lot of people that find it, maybe organically or through a search like Julie's talking about, or people that find it because they just started subscribing to your content, right? Or people that just joined your community. It's brand new to them. So it might be old to you, but it's not old to everyone. And if it's good, if it's solid, if it's meaningful to your audience, right? Reruns are okay, right? How many times has somebody in this room rewatched an episode of their favorite show? Flash, if you've ever rewatched an episode of your favorite show, right? Everybody in here has rewatched an episode of their favorite show, rewatched their favorite movie over and over again, right? Until you can recite it. Okay? It's because it's good. It's because you enjoy it. It's because you find value in it. So if your content is good, if it's delivering value for your community, for your audience, then yeah, repurpose it and repost it and reshare it regularly. That's all I got.
Tom, I'm looking at what is same with books. You wrote a book 5 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago. People so often they blast out when a book first comes out. 3 months leading up, I'm having a book, I'm having a book, I'm having a book, and then the book comes out and they never talk about it again. Or 2 months later, they never. Well, you worked so hard on that book. You believed in the book. The book still makes an impact. I turn to the side here, and I look at Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad on my shelf. And this is a book that came out 20 some years ago, and it's like it just came out yesterday, because the message stands, and they repurpose, they reshare, they hit new people are introduced to it. And actually, the next person on our stage could really talk about that, selling almost 4 million books at this time. Michael Lozier, how you doing, my friend? You want to talk about repurposing valuable content for us? Then we're going to hit Dr. Tachi and Blanco. So that's where we're at here. Go on, Michael.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Michael Lozier. I live in beautiful Victoria, BC. It's on an island on the west coast of Canada. I'm actually preparing for a presentation I'm going to do in Julie's room. And Julie's having me in to do a training. It's on this very subject about repurposing, but I'm going to add a whole twist on it. And I think some of you will like it and some of you won't want to do it. But listen, here's an opportunity for you to find 4 brand new audiences that aren't listening to podcasts. Give me a flash if you're in. Just an idea. 4 brand new audiences for the material that you're already done already. What if you recorded yourself doing your podcast? Just like what Tom's doing right now. What if that was the podcast? And now here's the 4 places you can put the video. So just for some reference, I've done 230 video that turned into podcasts, and I have these 250 videos in 7 different places. Someone do the math. So here's my tip: record your podcast while you're doing it, and if you have to edit it, that's okay. But then you can put it in these 4 places right off the top. You can upload it to YouTube as a video. You can make a blog entry, and then now you have all your videos on your site, and then you can take that blog entry and post it different places. You can also upload the video to LinkedIn, not the link, but upload it, and also upload that same video to Facebook. So within an hour of doing your video, the Stewart Omni Media, you're in 4 places plus your podcast within an hour of doing your live podcast. So Julie inspired this conversation, and that's my tips. Record the video and then repurpose that 4 to 5 times. Thanks,
Michael,
Dominic.
I love it, man. And I think you could go farther and farther with it. You could share clips from it. If you did an hour, there's probably 30 great clips in there that you'd be able to use at times. If you cut those down, you could cut them down for reels and put words on them. You could cut them down for TikTok and add music to those 30 seconds or something like that. So I think it's a great tip all around. And think how much from one piece of content. And then, like he said, what the multiplication of that, I don't remember what he got up to, but then think, what if you shared it in 2 weeks? What if you shared it? Hey, here's a video I did last month. Here's something I think applies to this conversation in the media right now. Here's something that applies to a conversation me and my friend were having today. Here's something that applies to a popular post that's trending on LinkedIn. So many ways to use that content.
Yes. I
Excellent,
also
Michael.
want to mention that after I do my live show on Saturday, that we turned it into a blog entry. And then weeks later, we repost the blog because the blog entry has the marketing in it and how to join the next show. So we don't post the video afterwards. We want all that data. So we're repurposing the day of to 5 places, and then we're reposting the same information. Like Tom said, someone wasn't there, they didn't read it, they might see it again. So repurposing one video and then reposting the blog entry and with all the marketing on it. So thanks for letting me share today.
Okay, and anybody here, if you want to switch, if you want to add to it, but we're talking repurposing right now. We're talking reruns. I love Seinfeld reruns. I can't get enough Seinfeld reruns. So I hear you. I salute you. Tom, we're going to go to Dr. Chachi, but you want to jump in here with any thoughts on this besides my internet going down? Tom set up this beautiful live stream for us, and for like 2 weeks, my internet's been crap. I'm dropping the ball on our friend Tom. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I looked up and you were just frozen in time on the live stream, so I took you down. We'll see if you can get your computer back up and running here. But yeah, no, I 100% agree with Michael. I mean, it's what we're doing with this live stream. I have the recordings of every week since we started doing this live stream. I've taken some of those recordings and I've created short form content out of it. I have notes to create short form content, hundreds of pieces of short form content out of the different live streams that we've done. We could easily, if I had the time, and maybe it's a matter of bringing on a VA to handle this kind of stuff, but we could easily take this and turn it into an audio only podcast. We're already live in Clubhouse. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on Facebook. And after those lives, all of those videos live on, right? On Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Twitch, right? All those videos live on even after we're done. So it's already there on the platform for us. So we are very much embracing that omni media approach that Michael's talking about. The one place that we're not doing it yet, which we should be, and maybe we should hold ourselves accountable. Maybe the folks in this room will help hold us accountable to doing this, is we should start taking this live stream and turning it into an audio podcast as well, and putting it out so people can download it in their podcast feeds and listen to it, and not necessarily have to be on the Clubhouse app. That's my thought.
Excellent all around, Tom. You are the man, and we appreciate everybody. We do this room every Wednesday. We're appreciative of all the people that come in and help. Julie, Michael, Dr. Tachi, Prof T, Jess, Johnny's always around. So thanks, guys. We need you. We appreciate you. You drive the conversation a lot of the time, so most of the time. So Much appreciated. Hey, Dr. Tachi, where do you stand on all this? And I just want to cut in and say, for anybody that jumped in later in the conversation, we're not saying don't make new content. Make all the new content you can. Produce, create, do your thing, live your life. We want that new content too, but we're saying you produce this other content. You believed in it. Don't give up on it. Dr. Tachi, have at it.
Good morning, everyone. I, of course, co-sign on everything that everyone has said. I guess I want to give a couple of examples of where that has worked for me. So, what Dominic, what you said in terms of, and everybody has said it in terms of repurposing, but you said something specific about connecting it maybe to an event. So, two times where that's really worked well for me. In 2016, I had the opportunity to interview Ruth Carter. Now, if you don't know who she is an an Oscar award winning costume designer who designed the costumes for Black Panther. And when I interviewed her, I did it live on Facebook. I recorded it. So I was doing multiple streams because this was at the American Black Film Festival. So she had done the costumes for Marshall, which was the film that was about Thurgood Marshall. And the time that I interviewed her was a Saturday. That Monday, she said, "Well, we're getting ready to go and start designing the costumes for Black Panther." Fast forward 2018, Black Panther becomes a huge juggernaut. And what do I have? My interview with Ruth Carter. So I was able to repurpose that, and it got so many hits, more hits the second time because Black Panther was coming out, and it then subsequently became a hit. So that's something to think about, to go back. If you interviewed someone that now has a project that's out, go ahead and replay that because it will mean so many more hits for you and also visibility for them. Same thing with, I'm a card carrying member of Club Quarantine. And what that is DJ D Nice has, since the pandemic started, had been DJing live on Instagram. He's taken it from his kitchen table to the White House and all over, and has become wildly popular. Last week, he actually did Club Quarantine Live at Carnegie Hall, which is a big deal for hip hop. And so I made a little kind of tribute for his birthday, saying "Happy Birthday, D Nice." That I created was kind of like an animated thing, and it did well the first time I put it up. But then I kind of rehashed it and changed the end for the second anniversary of Club Quarantine. That time it got like almost 7,000 views, which is big for that kind of thing. So again, I saw an opportunity to not only repurpose, but change to fit what the occasion was going to be, and it still worked. So those are two things to think about. Pay attention to what's happening and the people that you've interviewed before, because there will be an opportunity to use that again. And I turn it back to you, Dominic.
Hey, spectacular, Dr. Tachi, and what great results. And that's a piece of content that forever, each time they make those movies and things like that, wow, it's just going to keep on growing and growing and growing. Then as content grows, they also push it more. So it's like a formula that just keeps winning. Really just clever, good job all around. Okay, Blanco's on the phone. One thing I wanted to just touch on this repurposing. When you're producing content each week and you're like, oh, I'm going to post on Thursday, I'm going to post on Friday, I'm going to post this day or at this time, add the repurposed content into your strategy, into your consistency. Okay, on my second post of this day is this. My third post of this time is this. Knowing, okay, it's going to give you peace of mind. A lot of people in this room right now, I've used this word. I use this word with my friend Charlie Cifarelli down there. Paralysis by analysis. Sometimes we think about things and we get caught up and we just don't do anything because we're so caught up. But no, here's this piece of content every week. Post, and this is my low-level starting line for you. Every week, I'm going to share X amount of repurposed content. every day I'm going to share X amount of repurposed, whatever that is for you. So, okay, we're going to Blanco and then to Jess because I skipped Blanco. Then he was on the phone. So, Blanco, what do you got for us? And if you want to go somewhere else, go. We trust in you, man. Do your thing.
Oh no, I'm just getting phone calls. Can you give me 1 second? I gotta call
Yeah,
somebody.
man. Okay, hold it. Okay, we're gonna.
I'm here though.
Okay, and I saw astronaut in training in somebody's bio, Lisa. If that's true, I need to know more about this. So hang out. But we're going to Jess. Jess, what's going on? Jess is killing it in media, like just a juggernaut. So Jess, what do you got going on? What kind of tips you got for us?
Good morning, y'all. I just wanted to say good morning. Missed y'all. Sorry I wasn't there last week. I love it. God, Dr. Tashi. Oh, you had me cringing. I was like, yes, yes. Thank you guys. Somebody put that out there because that is absolutely accurate. Tom hit it on the head, repurposing content. So, like he said, if you've never been here, you probably heard him say that a bunch. I don't have any tips because you guys provide all the tips. I'm just here because I just love being in this room. It's always so welcoming and it's absolutely just phenomenal. I mean, you're around so many people who are so willing to share, who are so willing to lift you up at his hip, give you some help, things that you may seem that they may not be priced, they may not be of meaning at that point, but they're priceless. And I'm going to yield my own mic to that.
Okay, yield your own mic. I like it. And thank you for the kind words. Always appreciate you. And I am a fan of the content you're putting out as well. One thing I wanted to touch on, and we're going to go on both subjects here, and I know Julie might touch on this, but we're talking about repurposing, but one thing I had in my notes here today is I wanted to talk about building communities, the value of communities, the meaning of communities. And so that means Facebook groups. That means a place like Clubhouse, like where we're hanging out today. Think of the supported people you might meet next to you that maybe want to collaborate on a project. But one of the other things on community is you don't have to pull all the weight. Sometimes people in their media, you'll notice it's all about them. It's them. I did this. I won this. I made this. It's like a list of. It's like their resume. Where every post is they're giving me their resume. Well, what if you were giving some value? What if you didn't have to carry all the weight? What if you could give somebody else the credit and say, hey, look at this awesome thing this person's doing. And then all of a sudden that awesome person would want to share stuff in your community. And then just like repurposing where the weight lessens because you don't have to create everything. When you're creating a community, maybe your community wants to share as well. And so Julie's great at building communities. Julie, Tom, what's your thoughts on this? Let's go on.
Well, I can join. I mean, this is the Dom and Tom show, but you guys are creating a community here on Clubhouse. You can see it by the people that support you. And one thing I noticed, it can't be just about taking, taking, taking. It's also about giving and doing it without an agenda. And you'll see like the karma will come back to you. Like Dom is amazing, Tom, Jimmy, Michael, Dr. Tachi. I mean, everyone, Jess, Prof T. It is about giving and doing it without like a means, like the salesy stuff. Nothing makes me cringe more than when I'm being sold to. It's about creating relationships, and I've taken my community off of social media and started a Mighty Networks group because first of all, we don't own the land here on social media. Facebook groups are great for some purposes, but your account can get hacked. I've had that happen to a dear friend who has 140,000 followers, very engaged, and she got hacked on Facebook and literally had a heart attack. I said, we need to start diversifying your media presence because it is about getting that digital currency, as Prof T said. So think about how you can create a truly authentic and loyal community as opposed to followers, because there's a difference between followers. And if you do have any questions about Mighty Networks, I'd be happy to ask. It's been a good experience. It's not a high price point. and it takes people off of social media. Michael Lozier, actually, that's someone who gives. He gives of his time, and of course, it adds to visibility and exposure. But he's going to be a special guest next week in an event inside our community, and also meetups. Meetups is something people forget about too. It's kind of old fashioned, but people still do it. So those would be my 2 cents or 3 cents about building community. Thank you, guys.
I'm going to just say, maybe I'm a novice or naive. What does Mighty Networks mean? I don't even know what it means.
Well, Dom, you are a member of our Mighty Networks. It's actually a place. I really feel it's a hybrid between Facebook, Instagram, Lives, TikTok, building you can build courses out. You can have special events within your community. So
Meetup
it's really
also,
a community.
Julie. Add Meetup. I think Meetup is integrated in that intertwine.
Not really. I have separate meetups. I mean, meetups is a community, it's kind of old fashioned. It's kind of like Clubhouse, but actually meeting up. And I know people have built huge businesses like Chris Krimitsos. He built his whole Podfest Expo out of a meetup, doing a meetup at Denny's back in the day. So one day I'm like, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to make a meetup about, getting on podcasting. And I did one on publishing as well. And I did one networking, business networking, and I literally forgot about it for a couple of weeks. And I went back and like, oh my gosh, I've like 300 members coming, and I was like, wait, there's something here. But I think you have to add tools and value. I think it's great for business people to connect. So that's something not to forget about, because being on Clubhouse is amazing, but sometimes you see the same audience over and over. It's about diversifying and thinking outside the box. But Mighty Networks is something great. I mean, I would recommend it for anyone. And if anyone wants me to answer any questions about it, again, it's not really an expensive price point. It's just kind of getting it started. And you just have to add value to it. You have to add value and be consistent, because if you're not consistent, people forget about it, because people don't need one more thing to be joining. So, there has to be that carrot dangling, if you will, like Michael Lozier coming to speak next week in our Mighty Networks community. So I think that's amazing. So check it out, Mighty Networks. Questions, let me know. There is a trial period. It's a little learning curve at the beginning, but once you get a hang of it, it's super easy.
Julie, thank you. Good tips. And like I am on your group, your Facebook page, and I didn't even know there was or not your website, the media casters and all that, and I didn't know there was an underlying program running it.
Check it out.
Yeah, interesting.
I'll shout you out, Tom.
Tom, go on, man. What were you going to say?
I mean, I was just going to chime in on the value of community, right? And it's one reason why I use that word. I eschew using the term followers. I don't like the term followers. I'm not interested in followers. I don't want people to just walk behind me and do whatever I tell them to do. It's not anything I'm interested in building or creating or being a part of. Communities are built around an exchange of value. So if you think about a small town, like the sort of prototypical small town America, right? You got a main street, you got a hardware store, you got a grocery store, you got, a garage, a mechanic, you got like all the kind of basic necessities, and everybody works, fills a need for that community and provides value to other members of that community, and they are paid for that value, and they receive value from other members of the community. So communities are really self-sustaining, and they're all built around an exchange of value. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss when, like Julie's talking about, they get caught up in this, like, sort of, you got to sell no matter what, right? It's always got to be selling, always be selling. And it's tied in closely with this sort of hustle culture. And I just kind of think it's all wrong. It's all mistaken. It all misses the point. It all misses the point of treating other human beings like human beings, right? My goal in life is not try to get money out of people's pockets, right? My goal in life is to try to make the world a little bit of a better place in my own way, right? The way that I do that is by using my talents, right? My gifts, my skill set, to help people create content, right? And share stories. You do a similar thing through your publishing work, right? A lot of other people in this room, you know, create value for the world and try to make the world a better place through the use of their skill sets and their gifts, right? And that's what I think we should be striving to do, not trying to take money out of each other's pockets, right? Because that's a world I don't want to live in, and that's a game I don't want to play, because there's no good ending, right? There's no good ending to that game. So build community. Communities are self-sustaining, and they're built around an exchange of value. And if you really dig into it, you think about the best relationships you have in your life, your favorite people in your life, your relationship with those people is built on an exchange of value. And so that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking those kinds of relationships and building them around your businesses as well, right? And that's the kind of world that I want to help be a part of creating, and that's the kind of world I want to live in. So yeah, community 100% is the way forward.
Thank you, Tom. I was doing some work yesterday with Paramount, and I met a guy who, he's telling me the story. He wants to get into the movie business. He does TikToks. He had like he has 10,000 followers, and he's making TikToks talking about stuff. And one of his lady that he knew hooked him up with this giant director and said, like, here, check this guy's video out. In his video, it was him talking about this is the year he's going for it. And the lady hooked him up with this director and says, hey, check out this video. And I asked him, I said, did you reach out to the guy? And he said, no, not yet. And I was like, why did you not really reach out? I said, do you know the lady who referred you? And he said, yeah, I know her. I said, why didn't you reach out to the guy? He's like, well, I don't know how. And I said, Tom, like you're saying, I said, reach out to the guy and give. Say, hey, so-and-so that connected us. She's beautiful. I love her so much. She's the greatest. She connected us. I said, then I would say, I see the work you're doing. That's excellent work. It's beautiful work. Keep up the good job. If you have any suggestions for a young guy starting out, have at it. Whatever. That's it. No ask. As soon as you make that ask, like Tom's saying, as soon as you ask, or like Julie was saying about, I hate being sold. As soon as you try to say, how about what if somebody that they both know connected them? What if he genuinely connected? What if he gave? What if he tried to build community? Wow, man, I'd like to, who knows? Maybe that's the day that other guy wants to help somebody out. So I'm looking forward to hearing what happens. Go on, Tom.
I was going to say, do I need to use your favorite word? Reciprocity.
Go for it. Yes.
The rule of reciprocation. It sounds like, I mean, it's one of those things I think
it's not virility, Tom.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not related to virility or virality. But it's one of those things I think people miss the boat on all the time, right? If you think about the way relationships in our personal lives are structured, there's no reason why we can't follow that model for how we structure relationships in our professional lives as well. In fact, I not only can we, I 100% believe that we should, right? And so the example that I use all the time to explain this idea to people is one that we're all familiar with. We've all been out to dinner with a friend. You get towards the end of the meal, and your friend, the check lands on the table. Your friend grabs the check and says, I got this, dinner's on me, right? Who's had that happen? Flash if you've had that happen, right? They grab the check. They say, dinner's on me tonight. Okay. And you do the dance back and forth. This probably sounds really familiar to everybody, right? You do the dance back and forth. So you're like, oh, come on, you don't have to do that. Let me at least get the tip. Let me get the drinks. Let me cover this. Like, let me do this. Let me do that. Right. And they say, no. Absolutely not. It's on me. It's my pleasure. Right. And so what you do at that point is you actually make two decisions. And a lot of people don't realize that you're making two separate decisions because they come out in the same breath. Right. And you say, okay, fine. Thank you. Right. And that's your decision to accept the gift that they're giving you of buying you dinner, right? And then the next thing out of your mouth in the same breath is, but the next one or the next time, it's on me. And that's your decision to reciprocate. And what's happening is you're following the rule of reciprocation. They have given you a gift, and the rule of reciprocation says that you cannot take or receive without giving in return, right? And so you've received a gift from them. And so what are you going to do? You're going to return that value to them. You're going to give them a gift in return. So you say the next one's on me, and you mean it so strongly. It is so important to you to return that value that often you will actually go out of your way to create an opportunity to do it. You will call that person up and say, hey, what are you doing on Friday? And they'll say, oh, let me look at my calendar. Oh, nothing. I'm good. I'm available. Why? What's up? Cool. I'm taking you out to dinner. Right? So you are going to create an opportunity to return that value to them. And so what I'm talking about is building those kinds of relationships around your business by building a community. Those are the kinds of relationships that exist in communities, right? Ones where people voluntarily decide that they want to be a part of that group, right? Just like what Julie's talking about building on Mighty Networks, right? And really, I think the easiest way to kind of wrap your head around Mighty Networks is it's Facebook groups, but in a place where you own the real estate, right? So it's like having a Facebook group, but you own the real estate. So your account can't get hacked. You can't get taken over. Nobody's bots are going to start spamming your group. None of that stuff happens, right? Because you own the real estate. So you own the IP. So build community, because if you build community and you create reciprocal relationships with people in that community, you will all work together to rise and to lift each other up, right? And that is how you find long-term sustainable success personally and professionally.
Loving the vibe, Tom. You're on fire, my friend. The group's on fire. This is the place. I'm getting positive vibes from each of you, writing things down. So I'm feeling good about it. Now we got a friend Johnny. Behind Johnny, it looks like Johnny has either donuts behind him or giant lifesavers in his new picture. So I am wondering which one it is.
Neither, Dom. It's Fruit Loops.
Ah, strike three. Okay, Johnny. The subjects are community repurposing. What do you got for us? You're doing it all.
Well, good morning, friends and foes. My name is John Pica, the prophet of pop culture. You can call me Johnny. And I am a multidiscipline storyologist, entertainer, storyteller, and podcaster, magician. I do it all. Anyway, so repurposing is awesome if you have the bandwidth to do it. And here's what I mean by that. So we do a live video podcast. It live streams out to 4 or 5 different locations on Saturday mornings. It is live and interactive with the audience. It's called Back of the Cereal Box. It's celebrating the fun of our youth while navigating adulthood today. And then we when I have the bandwidth to do it, I go back and I cut out clips and whatnot. But that's a big task. That's a big lift. So what I've done in lieu of having, sometimes not having time to do clips, is I just block out time throughout the week. Like this morning, every Wednesday is Reshare Wednesday. And I'm going to share that previous content out to the world from the past week, from the past month, from the past year. Because, if people haven't seen or heard it, it's new to them. And by the way, if you are a podcaster, broadcaster, videocaster, whatever, don't be afraid to repeat material on the show. We will frequently take up a topic that we discussed a year ago, brand new now. because of our opinions have changed. Our co-hosts are different. Our perspectives are different. And so now that previous topic, that previous material may be completely different. And because I'm getting the red bar of death, I hope you guys can hear me. And because you have new listeners, new viewers, new readers every week, every day, something you said a year, 2 years ago may never be heard or seen by them brand new. So never be afraid to repeat something that you covered in the past. That's my thought about how to repurpose when time is a premium. I'm Johnny. I'm done. Ta-da!
Johnny, man, spectacular as always, isn't he, Tom? Every week, every post, I'm Team Johnny all around.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I gotta say, I really like the way Johnny signs off the mic. It is a great sort of like quirky but very personable way to sign off the mic. I'm a big fan. It almost makes me want to come up with something like that for myself. But yeah, I love the ta-da, Johnny, and obviously everything you said, 100% agree with. In terms of repurposing content, and it does take a little bit of bandwidth, but I think at the end of the day, it's often less bandwidth than trying to come up with brand new content all day, every day. So yeah, but I love the ta-da. Big fan.
Good stuff. I wonder, even going more rudimentary here, I would bet that everybody here has, I wonder what the average, here's clap if you have over 500 pictures in your phone. Oh, nobody. Okay, I got 500. I think over 1,000. You think you got over 1,000 pictures in your phone? No, I think I probably do. Okay. I wonder how many of these, when we're talking, this is the basics of repurposing content, right? If we're going video, well, I get you guys. Videos here, level higher. Is there a picture of you with your kids that really meant a lot to you that you could repurpose on Throwback Thursday, Flashback Friday, on Wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day Wednesday, thinking of when I ran my first Ironman and gave it my all. Oh, that was Tom. That's a free post for Tom, not for me. But there's so much content at your phone right now. Scroll down through, challenge yourself. So that's my challenge for this. My challenge for you for this week is scroll down through your phone. I'll give you. You can go 5 swipes, 10 swipes, whatever you want, but produce some content based on what's in your phone right now. I don't need, sure, if you want to fancy edit a video or something like that, step it up a little, but for this challenge, just a picture. And here's when I released first book. Here's when I met Star the dog for the first time. Here's when I interviewed so-and-so from, the Black Panther. Come on, this is good stuff. All right, next up. Okay, Tom, let's reset. Ooh, Tom Langan on TV producing entrepreneurship. Okay. Ooh, Ching. I saw
Yeah,
Ching.
I wanted to throw that up there. So this goes to that conversation we were having earlier when I first actually got in the room. Prof T was talking about how she was getting invited onto more podcasts and things like that. Just from being a part of this community, my friend Ching down there, Ching Jewel, who's a documentary filmmaker, who's a part of our room on a regular basis, reached out to me a few weeks back and said, "Hey, would you be willing to come on to do a live stream interview with me on my YouTube channel?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so that's what we're doing a little bit later on today. So 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you're around, you can follow that link up top and you can check it out. Ching and I are going to talk about, producing entrepreneurship and all kinds of stuff. I'm sure the conversation is going to be really interesting. So really looking forward to talking to Ching later today, and hope to see some of you guys there. But yeah, you never know, right? All you got to do is show up, be a part of a community, and give to that community, and good things will happen. People will give back to you.
Hey Tom, thank you. Hey Dominick. Hey Julie. Hey
Hey, Ching,
everybody.
what's going on today?
What's going on? I am just really, really enjoying your room, and I learn so much every time being with you guys. And when you talk about repurposing, right? It's like you just hit my head. Damn, I'm not repurposing things. So I'm actually repurposing this Sunday, I did a workshop on my own channel, actually being, invited by an institution talking about smartphone video production. So I was like, that session was so good, 1 hour only, talking to 7 people. So I just repurposed them now because you inspired me on my LinkedIn. So it's like it's such a good conversation, needs to be heard again. So and also every time I interview people, I've done my live interview for 180, I don't know, 88 episodes now. So I'm gonna so look forward to see Tom today, and it it is something like I learn from my guests every time I interview everyone. I study them. I read their thing. I watch their website. I watch their film if it's a filmmaker, or I read articles. So it's very energizing to me. It's a gift to me. But then, in the other hand, when I interview Tom, and then people, if they click Tom, how do I say your last name? Langan? Tom.
Yes,
Anyway,
Langan.
Langan. Very nice. Nice, clean. And so if you type Tom Langan on Google, it will show our interview. So it's a really nice publicity for my guests. So what I'm really agree with Tom is that you need to be there. Show up is such a wonderful word. I should have a next time I have a child. If I do, I say I just I just call him or show up. Anyway, thank you so much for having me. Oh! Can I ask one question? Sorry. It, Talking about repurpose, right? For instance, I do TikTok now pretty consistently. Talk about music mostly because I'm also a musician. So say if I post something on TikTok, right, and then do I post that same thing at the same time to my Facebook, to my Instagram, to my everything else? Or should I wait a little bit? Like timing wise, can you give me some tips, please?
Ching, number one, you have different followers on different platforms. Number two, if you use it on each platform, if you use the TikTok thing, if you use a video from TikTok, directly from TikTok, it is branded with a TikTok logo. So the algorithm does get hurt a little. I have this conversation all the time. So some people will say, well, it has the TikTok algorithm on it or the TikTok logo, so I'm not going to post it on Reels. And it does hurt the what is it? How do I say it?
Virality.
Virality. Thank you, Ching. I appreciate this. I'm learning stuff today. Okay, so it does hurt that a bit, but the counterpoint here is if you don't share it, nobody's going to see it. So sometimes somebody that really is intently following you, they might say, well, I just saw this somewhere else. Somebody else, when they came out of the office at lunchtime that day, they didn't get a chance to check TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. They were only able to check Facebook. And was your message there or was it not there? So we could go down this path on, well, do you want to be there at the time they look or not? Or were you going to, sure, could you post it later? Yeah, you could post it later anyway. Why don't you do both? But that's my first thoughts on it. Anybody else want to dig in there? Have at it.
Dominic, you touch a really important thing about having the logo. But what I recently have done is I just video myself first, then I will post on TikTok. So I will still have the original video, then I will post onto Instagram or other places.
And if I was
Okay.
doing that, Ching, I would change the music on, but I would put it in Reels on one with one song, and then I would put it on TikTok with another song, and make the beat a little bit different, and add some old, I like whatever filter changed it a little bit or made you look like you were flowing across the screen or however, because
Okay. Okay.
TikTok has more filters and things you can do with than Reels, and the more you use, if you change your voice, things like that, you're playing the game. So one of my notes today was one, LinkedIn underused, but changing your message per platform a little bit if you can. So knowing that, well, TikTok wants this kind of song, or they need to be 15 to 20 seconds, and maybe Reels, it should be 45 seconds. So that's where I go on that. All right. We're going to move on. Let's see here. We're going to Tom. What'd you have on that? And we're going to,
Well,
what do you
I was just going to say, I think two things that I want to just throw out there as sort of uh, uh, pump the brakes cautionary notes, right? One is I always encourage people when you talk about like using filters or putting music on a piece or something, at the end of the day, that's all great so long as it serves a purpose, right? So if you're putting a filter on because you think the algorithm is going to favor you if you put a filter on, but you're not sure, if it doesn't necessarily, if you can't clearly articulate a purpose that what you're doing serves, then I would argue you probably shouldn't do it. So that's just my thoughts on like the filters, music, things like that. And at the end of the day, again, I kind of encourage people not to get too caught up in the weeds of trying to like game the algorithms, because they change them all the time. They're not published for a reason. You're never going to know exactly what they're doing. So your best bet is to put out good, authentic content that shares a little bit of who you are and your values and the kind of person you are, that represents you and your brand and your business well, right? That's the best way to approach it, because that will help attract people who share values with you, who appreciate the work that you're doing, who appreciate the value that you're putting out in the world, rather than trying to sort of game the algorithm system. So I don't get too caught up on like, I put out TikToks that are a minute and a half long all the time, right? Like most of my TikToks are 60 seconds or longer, right? Most of my reels are 60 seconds or longer, right? Most of my vlogs that I do every day are around 60 seconds. And I post those on LinkedIn. I post them on Instagram Reels. I post them on TikTok. I post them on Twitter, right? So, at the end of the day, I'm looking for folks that appreciate what I'm putting out. I'm much more interested in that than like, virality, because at the end of the day, virality is like great for a fleeting moment of feeling like you've accomplished something. But just because you have a video go viral and you get 10,000 views or 100,000 views or 1,000,000 views on a video doesn't mean you're going to get any views on the next one. And at the end of the day, those views don't mean much if you haven't built a community around your brand or your business, whether that's a personal brand or an actual company. So just my thoughts on like the gaming the system thing that I think a lot of people get caught up in.
And double back on that, Tom, a lot of those, I guarantee if you do a reel or you do a TikTok in the first couple TikToks, you're going to see some bump that is much larger than all the others. Same with reels. They're baiting you in just like the slot machine at the casino. They give you a win every once in a while, and then you start to chase that win, chase that high. It's clear as day. Johnny, what do you got? You know all about this. You were clapping or had your mic off. Go on.
Yeah, so I want to follow up with what Tom said. If you try to be everything to everybody, you'll end up being nothing to nobody. I've made that my motto for the last 40 years. So in relation to what Tom said, be you, 100% you, be authentically you. And if you're trying to chase every platform and master every platform, you're going to fail. Focus in on one place that you can be the master of. You can do it better than anything else. Yes, be present in other places, but I don't spend a whole lot of time investing in LinkedIn and Instagram because that's not what I'm an expert at. I'm an expert at Facebook. And my audience, strangely enough, they're on Facebook. So don't try to chase every platform, chase every algorithm. Don't try to be everything to everybody because you'll end up being nothing to nobody. I'm Johnny. I'm done. Ta-da!
Brilliant, Johnny. Love it, man. Thank you. And early on, too, you can get so caught up in, well, so-and-so said I should join this app. So-and so got 100,000 views. My friend's neighbor went viral over here. And you start chasing all that. And then, like to Tom doing the 1 minute and 30 seconds, Tom knows his audience. When Tom gets on, I want to hear him. So there's a certain message that you're sharing where I know this, if I'm like, let's say I do a lot of motivation. So I believe in us going for your goals, persistent, never giving up. So I might give that message. It's a different message than another message I'm going to give. So when you see that message, it's a little longer. It's a little more, maybe thought out than this. Somebody going like this and try. I'm shaking my hands over my head, and only Tom can see where, doing a worm or something. But anyway, okay, we're cruising along here. Tom, me and Tom have an update. This is an update that you will receive here. I set this room up late today. I dropped the ball on it. We are not doing this room next week. Tom has his race, and I'm going to New York City with my family, going to a Yankees game. We got things to do. So we're going to skip it, but I'm going to schedule the room today. So follow our club. We have a club here. Please follow the club, and you will get a notification when the next room's going to be, which will be the Wednesday after that. So how's that sound? Is that fair?
Sounds great. Do you mind if I jump in here? Because it's the first time I'm in this room and I got invited up on stage. I just wanted to add to what Tom said. Do you mind, Dominick?
No, we don't mind. Have at it. Go on.
Well, and Johnny, I loved what you said. Hello, everyone. I'm Angela. I actually have taken a break off of Clubhouse, and I think, it was interesting for me to come in. I think, Julie, I follow you, and so it probably pinged me. And I was like, so I came in when Julie was speaking. And I wanted to kind of talk about what the word fleeting means, because so many things have been great and value, and I've really enjoyed the conversation. I am in book publishing, in the traditional side of book publishing, which is actually making a book, a physical book. And one thing we notice when we look at BookScan, which is a big, huge platform, if people are familiar with the book side of publishing, it's sales through the cash register, things like Costco, Target, Amazon, they all report into that, Barnes & Noble. And I was just on a podcast, which was a really fascinating conversation. I actually posted it on my LinkedIn, and where I'm probably the most active publicly as Angela Engel, and then my business is the Collective Book Studio on Instagram. And I quoted in the podcast that it is much more impactful to book sales on radio, traditional print, those types of publications, than a fleeting Instagram post. And so it just really is interesting when Dominick, you said it's like a candy machine, because me, even as a business owner with a physical product, sometimes we get caught up in finding, and we all know this, the largest Instagram person to publish a book with or whatever, and that is actually not necessarily what's translating into backlist and book sales. Some of my most successful titles have been writers who have a deep community in the writing community, have joined organizations and have put the work in. And they're the ones that honestly, who maybe have 500 followers on Instagram, the ones that are selling, that can really move a needle and sell books, especially in the independent and regional publishing. So I just wanted to add that hopefully that's value of people who are listening, but I really have gotten a lot of listening. And I think I love the idea of building community. I always say to people who ask me about book deals and how do I get one and how do I work, differently in this publishing space, it's very difficult to write a book. It is I'm not actually, I've never written a book. So I wouldn't know. I've published a ton, but I've never written one. And I said, the thing is, there's only one you. And so you have a story. If you have a story to tell, you might not be a writer, and a book is really a difficult task. But if you collect the right team and you have something to tell, there is only one you, and you're completely unique in your perspective. So I'm Angela, but I really enjoy always talking about storytelling. I'm going to pause my mic.
Angela, thanks for jumping in, and thank you for the tips. It's interesting because I 100% agree with what Angela says about the media. I just had an author get a pre-order for 10,000 books that basically isn't on social media, very not on, their presence is small. So I actually went to one podcaster, and the podcaster asked me, well, how many followers do they get? And I'm like, these guys already sold 10,000 books. What are you talking about? And I thought, they're bigger than you. And they go out and speak every week and things like that. And so it was just funny because they were doing everything that the podcaster dreamed of doing at some point, but the podcaster didn't see them on social media and mix them. So
I completely agree. I mean, I have a cookbook called 52 Shabbats that was in the LA Times, the New York Times, the Washington Post. It has sold a ridiculous amount. And, maybe she has 1,000 followers on Instagram, and she's done cooking schools all over the country and walks. And I mean, she's a real food writer, right? And so I agree with you. If I encourage any podcaster in this room to not just look at their Instagram followers. Like, for example, we have a very large email subscriber list, close to 10,000. That's really where I have gained a lot of my engagement, people who are loyal to our brand, people who want to buy our books. So I think that there's a lot of ways to engage in people. I think, Tom, you said this, which I loved. It isn't always about the money. Reminder, or the podcast, the biggest feeling, it's about building community. And so if that speaker makes sense for your audience, will develop content for your audience, even with a smaller platform, that is beneficial because that shows authenticity, and that's how you're going to grow. Angela, I'm done speaking.
boom, fantastic all around. Thank you. Clubhouse, Clubhouse, podcasting, publishing, and social media. That's the room. We do it every Wednesday, except Wednesday. So you got to follow that club. Felipa, what do you have? Questions, thoughts? Go on.
I love everything. I've been getting so much out of this. I want to sort of go back to like the double space in typing because I'm that old, and you have to relearn things, and you relearn to sort of say now we don't type that way anymore. You just need one space. And in the world that I grew up in, like copyright protection is like super important, and you don't want. And I was just thinking a lot about like where I source my content. I repurpose other people's content. So like the first book I published was published in 1917 and it's in the public domain. And I rewrote over 30% to create a new copyright. So most of my TikTok are duets, are screenshots of other people's Instagram posts or other people's YouTube pictures, or I'll do like a roundup of my favorite creators. And I just have found, or actually, I just recently did like a book review on War and Peace. So, as it relates to the war in Ukraine, because I do a lot of content there, but there's this way that you can also think about you repurposing other people's content. Like once I didn't know what Telegram was, and then finally got on Telegram, and I was like, oh, this is where everybody's getting their stories. This is where everybody's getting their video. This is and everything that's on there. It's like it's a free for all. Take it, repurpose it, make it your own. And so I also do the same thing with like Google Alerts and Google Trends, specifically because I cover a lot of Russian and Ukrainian news. I got on Google Trends and I got them to email me every day top trending stories in Russia, top 10 trending stories in Ukraine. And so then I could get story ideas from there. A lot of times I just take a screenshot of the headline. So we talk about repurposing. I love it. There's so many ways I can repurpose my own stuff, but I also say there's a treasure trove of other people's stuff that we are free to share. Like I pretty much started my TikTok account um, with duets until I started getting more confidence and finding more of my own stories and my own angle. So those are just some thoughts. Like there's so much out there. And Google Alerts is another one. Google Trends and Google Alerts. So if there's a particular topic that you write on, like have Google serve up news of the day to you.
So do they email you, or how's it, or is it just in your feed when you first go in there?
Okay, so a couple things. So with the Google Trends and Google Alerts, they email me. So every day I've got news of it's you can set it for weekly, daily, or as it happens. So you just set your preference. So I have a daily roundup of like news of the day, and I can go in and either see the top stories, or I can just go in like you click at the bottom and then you can see like even more detail or other stuff, and it will go. You can get the whole sort of library. And then, fortunately, with my phone and my computer, translate the Russian and the Ukrainian into English because although I'm learning Cyrillic, I'm not there yet. So I appreciate the translate features. Same thing. There's a translate feature on Telegram, and Telegram's amazing. I did not know like what was there as a content creator. I was like, "Ooh." So now I'm able to create a lot more original videos, but they're not original. I mean, they're stories, that are they've been filmed in Ukraine or Russia, and I share them, make them my own, or add them to other pieces that I'm doing.
Fantastic. Thanks for breaking it down so clearly for us. And for those people, you're thinking about content, you're struggling with content creation. I always think, especially early on in your content creation career, that if you don't know what to post, follow like minds, follow subjects that matter. First, you could just share lowest level. I want to give you lowest level first, lowest hanging fruit. Share that article. This is an article from Wall Street Journal that you believe in. That's step one. Now, if you're ready for step two is comment on when you're sharing that content. Here's an article from Wall Street Journal that I believe in. I'll share stuff about Netflix or what's going on in the industry. Here's something going on in the industry. Very interesting that Pennsylvania now has a 30% tax credit, whatever it is. So that's level two. So, Felipa, I appreciate you sharing that information.
Yeah, and also just one more tip because or just a comment on what Tom was saying about not gaming the algorithm. I still think you should find like the patterns that make sense to you. And I am on the path to monetization, and I go at the pace that I go. But one thing I've learned in looking at the algorithm and looking at my stats is that if I feed the algorithm, even with like low hanging fruit posts, so I will scroll through Instagram. I'll see a post on Instagram. I'm crediting the author. I'm crediting them. I'm not, doing it without full acknowledgement of like, this is the original. And I'll just take a screenshot of that. I'll bring it into TikTok, add some music, add some stickers, and that's a post. But for me, I found that when I feed the algorithm 5 posts a day, even like simple posts, um, it continues serving up all my other posts. I have a really small account. I just hit 4,000 followers, but I'm using that as an example to say when I actually looked at the data of, for me, that algorithm of feeding it 5 times a day, it's serving up my posts that I'm on average now getting 20,000 views a day, not with my new content, but with all the stuff in my library that it just keeps serving up.
So, Philippa, I think like what I'm getting at is in terms of like the when I talk about not trying to game the algorithm, what I'm really talking about is what the content is made up of, right? Like I don't want people to try to try to allow a mysterious algorithm that none of us completely understand because they're unpublished, right?
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
let this mysterious algorithm dictate kind of the way we present ourselves, right, or the way we represent ourselves. So volume is great if you can churn out 5 posts a day and you've got that volume of content to put out. I would never argue against that, and I 100% agree that I mean, look, the algorithms, the one thing we do know 100% is that all of the algorithms on all social media are specifically designed to get you to stay on that platform for as long as possible, right? That's the one thing that they all have in common, that their goal is to get you to stay on that platform for as long as possible, because the longer you're there, the more money they make, because all of these social media platforms are advertiser supported, right? So at the end of the day, they want you to stay on the platform for as long as possible so they can charge the most money and to their advertisers, right? So we know that, but yeah, so like they're going to prioritize high volumes of content and creators that put out a lot of content, because it just gives them more things to put in front of their audience to try to get them to stick on the platform. It's if you show that you're consistently posting 5 times a day, your posts are going to get prioritized because you have a high volume of content, and people with more volume of content tend to keep people's attention longer. So I wouldn't argue against that for a second. What I would argue against is don't let the algorithm dictate what you're creating and what you're putting out there. But in terms of volume, 100% agree. You know, if you've got the ability to do it, post 5 times a day, go for it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We're totally in alignment on that. I was just using that tip of saying when you're using other people's content, you can, that's how I am able to do, like, as one person who has a lot of other things going on, that the posting can be like exactly what you said, a photo from your phone. So I'm just taking a screenshot and then I guess my point is it's that simple.
Agreed. Get that low hanging fruit, whatever that is. So like
Absolutely.
the pictures in your phone. Come on, guys. In this room, you got picture that you love, a picture of your mom that is so beautiful and she means so much to you. Share that and say, today, this is the woman that made me the person I am, and now this, whatever it is. But you have that material out there. It's that easy. Like Lipa said, it's that easy. Okay, my friend Charlie Cifarelli. I miss this guy. Where the heck is? Well, it's like, where's Walter? Where has Charlie Cifarelli been? All over the globe. But Charlie, what do you think about all this, and how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Hello, everybody. Some good stuff being shared today. And yeah, it's very easy to accumulate a lot of photos and videos with these iPhones of some really good content that could be used at later dates. Um, I'm all talked out. I've been on a lot of podcasts, and I got some more scheduled for this week, next week, and early in September. So that's what's going on.
You might have to get on my Diet Mountain Dew kick, Charlie. I need high energy, Charlie. Go on, man.
Yeah, and I think is a weak word. I don't like think. Um, I I know that I'm heading in the right direction because people simply would not ask you to go on their show if you didn't have any content that would mean anything to anybody. And I try every day, and I'm not in the shower, folks. That's my fountain in the pool. Um, I try every day to put more in the stream of life than I take out. We talked about this earlier today. Big word in 2018 that the public got used to hearing, quid pro quo. And I don't like that much. I do for you, you do for me. But I really don't keep score. The transactional scorekeeping guy will always come up short. And, when I go to a pricier meal, I always make sure that for my own comfort, I really don't want that uncomfortable feeling when the tab comes. Most often, I get a hold of the server early on, and she knows to bring the check directly to me, and it's done because I'm there to celebrate with friends. I'm not there to eat free or to feel uncomfortable. And I don't really like that at the end of the meal when it gets divvied up. It's really an uncomfortable feeling for me, at least. It might not bother others, but I just never do that well with that. And the last thing is, as I continue to try to crystallize what I really want to speak about, and my favorite topic now is really talking about, because I was a big guy, I was a weightlifter, I still look like a triathlete pushing 60, is toxic masculinity. And, having worked in 3 maximum security prisons, have been there at the end of men's lives when they've gone to the death penalty to the chair. I really, the exterior of me was not the interior of me. And I'm really at this age have no fear to really expose that, look, I don't have a ton of emotional muscle, but I found a way to hide and act like I did through weightlifting, through different things I did by businesses, being in the trash business, by being 245 pounds and physically fit at one time. And that's really not me. And I like talking about that. And going forward, I listened to what Tom said. It was probably about 3 weeks ago. He says, get the phone out and continually videotape yourself and don't worry about it. Don't do no retakes, just do it and add to it. And I've been doing that. And what I've come up with is this. I think the world needs another Anthony Bourdain. You know, I think I got the right look. Hopefully I don't get too many people get mad at me for me. And I think that I want to start getting people out that I find interesting and go to cool places, maybe in New Jersey, hotspot, New York pizzeria that's well known, and really have topics you want to hear about, just different topics, and allow someone that is in another part of the world to say, hey, these guys are just sitting over a slice of pizza in New York City. I Googled this place. I may never get there, but I feel like I'm there with this guy. And this guy's hitting a topic that I really want to know. Although I could read about it on Reddit, he's talking about it. It looks authentic. I like this. So that completes me on this Wednesday. I got some things going on. And with that, I'll yield my mic.
Good stuff, Cifarelli. And I loved Anthony Bourdain as well. Love the depth of those interviews and the voiceovers when he's in Taipei and all that stuff. But the world, you know what we really need? We need the first Charlie Cifarelli. So Anthony Bourdain was great, did his thing. But I could see you out there doing your thing. So let's see some video. Do it, man. Every person in this room, here's my do it, man. So even start somewhere, start today, make the first attempt at it. Turn that phone around and interview one person, set it on the table and interview one person. We can look back at it 3 years from now and say, man, that was messed up. We did go on, Charlie.
I just wanted to get this in, Dom, because I forgot. I have to say it, Dom. I'm author. I have my first Dominick as a publisher. I know you are. I got an email yesterday. That's about 1,000-word count about how people are discussing my book in the Midwest at their book club, and they're going out to dinner and talking about it. I got to tell you something. That's a feeling that that's better than any payday I have ever gotten, and I've had some paydays. That is an incredible feeling to know that people are reading my book and they're talking about it and they're telling me. This lady told me how she's going to implement it in the community and how there's so many different God winks. I never heard this word before. God winks in my book. It's the best email I've ever gotten. And I want to tell anybody that's considering writing a book, get it done. The world needs to hear your story. That completes me.
Yeah, I'm going to clap that. The world needs your story. Clap it up. Each of you have a story that needs to be heard. It is unique to you. No one else can tell it better than you. I can't tell your story. Nobody else can tell it. You are the author to your own story. Oh, okay, let's keep moving on here. We got more people to meet. Thomas, you like Thomas? That's what I'm going to start calling you. He's just shaking his head, not paying attention to me.
You can
Okay.
call me Thomas. It is my name.
Okay.
It's just I might not respond quickly because no one calls me Thomas. But if you give me a second, I'll remember that that's my full name. You know.
I was
And,
if you ever watch this live stream, catch up on it. I'm like staring at him, Thomas, and he's like over there looking at his race app, not paying attention. So
I was actually sending you a message, but you know, but that's all good.
I am quick to throw anybody under the bus. That's why
No,
we're friends. That's tough love.
I was looking at stuff about my race about 10 minutes ago though. So
that's when I was talking
earlier.
When I thought I was making a really good point earlier, I'm like, yeah, I'll throw this on Tom. That's when I really saw Tom looking down. Okay, so now let's straighten ourselves up here. We do this room. We got a club. Join the club. We have a little conversation going on the left there. Thank you. Share the room. Clip yourself. If you heard something, if you came up on stage and you said something cool, clip yourself. Share it somewhere else. Have at it. Those are those little scissors there for anybody that, if you're listening to the live stream or not listening straight on Clubhouse. I believe in the app Clubhouse. I believe Clubhouse has changed since the start of it a little bit, because you can jump in a room like this and jump on and contribute, share a tip, something like that. And this is a equal opportunity place. You can always come on and share your story. We'd love to have you. But my belief in the change of Clubhouse is now you can listen while you're at work. I think as early on in the pandemic, I think more people were home. Now I think it's they're sitting at their office and they're listening in the background to these rooms like it's a podcast or like it's their favorite radio show or something. And so my point is, don't give up on social audio. It is not going anywhere. All right, Dean, tip for us. You got a tip or a question? Go on, my man.
Well, Taco Tom and Dorito Dom, the iPhone is the telephone. First of all, is the greatest invention that was ever brought to life, and the iPhone just is supercharged. You can use it for everything. Now, I have been doing some low hanging fruit stuff, and I put a thing on LinkedIn, and my analyticals went up, but it didn't solve the problem. So I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit. But I do believe that just pretty much what everybody said here, it is about storytelling, and we have the greatest tool right in our hand to do that type of storytelling. So if you listen to the people that say how to do this, they say it's about consistency. Um, I'm not a big Instagram kind of person, but I'm trying to learn. I spend majority of my time in LinkedIn, and that's basically because my story, what's going on with me, is I need to go back to work. But anyway, enjoy the room as always, and like I said, Taco Tom and Dorito Dom. I really like the thing on LinkedIn too. I checked that out. You're about 5 seconds behind on the audio as far as compared to the Clubhouse. And yes, I enjoy all y'all's talks and y'all's knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, Dean. Appreciate it, and thanks for checking out LinkedIn and commenting over there and liking that post. Really appreciate it. It's it's one of those things. There's always going to be a bit of a delay on any of the channels where it's live streaming as compared to the audio that you're getting off of Clubhouse. It's just the nature of the beast as it feeds across the internet and through the servers at LinkedIn, and then actually gets put up and probably has a bit of a delay because we have the auto captions turned on. So it's live transcribing the audio. So there's always going to be a little bit of a delay between what you hear on Clubhouse and what you see on the live streams. And it's just technical. That's the only reason why. But yeah, really appreciate you being here. And in terms of consistency, I mean, look, look, man, I think it's really just about figuring out what you want to create, making sure that it resonates with you first, right? That it feels authentic to who you are and that it delivers value and information, insight, whatever that, however that value transpires, comes across for your community. It can be, information or insight, like I just said. It can be humor, right? It can be entertainment. So whatever that is, however you best present that value to your community, then just put it out in the world and do it consistently, right? And consistency ultimately does two things. One, it definitely helps with with the prioritization of your content on the platform. So if you post regularly, if you're very consistent with it, then your content will get prioritized over somebody who only posts, twice a week or once every other week or whatever the case may be. And then, the other thing it does is, as you start to build an audience and build a community around your content, around your brand, and whether that's personal or professional, you'll see that that consistency will help you build trust with that community, and that is ultimately sort of the secret sauce. That is the gold fairy dust that makes it all work. That's the magic behind it, is that consistency helps you build trust. And if you build trust with a community, then you can really, really turn that into something amazing that supports not just you and your brand or your business, but everybody involved, that everybody walks away from interactions within that community feeling as if they've benefited from it. That's what the real magic, that's where the real magic starts to happen, is when you have that, you build that trust within your community. That's when things just, that's when incredible things happen, right? And so I would encourage you to just keep up that consistency, and make sure that you're providing value, and that's the goal. And I just want to real quickly, my buddy Chris Fraze, dog behaviorist trainer, guru extraordinaire, is and a really interesting guy who I'm gonna harass into downloading Clubhouse and joining us in the room one of these days. Has been watching us on Facebook and commenting away, but he's got an interesting story. He's somebody who's in the trenches building a community around the work that he does, and I really appreciate him being here and watching the live stream over on Facebook. So thanks, Chris. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, Tom, we always, me and Tom talk about this all. We appreciate if you come for 1 minute, if you come for 5 minutes, if you, send us a message and say, hey, would you talk about this week? I mean, thank you. If you hung out for an hour and a half, if you're contributing, if you're a guest host like Dr. Tachi sometimes, thank you. We are very appreciative. If you're here every week, like our friend Charlie Cifarelli, appreciate it. Or if you're just coming and you're in the audience today, and maybe a month from now you decide, hey, I'm going to come up on stage, or you're just listening while you're at the office because your boss walks around every once in a while and you're like, I want to say something here, and I probably got a better tip than they're sharing, but my boss is right behind me, so I'm going to wait. We appreciate you too. So, hey, Ching, you want to go, since cameras came up and Dean said about using your phone, would you like to share a tip for storytellers about using your phone?
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic. I think we carry our phone with us excessively all the time. And we don't even carry our boyfriend, girlfriend, loved ones with us. So I really think we should utilize the phone. I myself love documenting things, even cats or flowers on the street, or of course people. And I am very socially sort of a sensitive now. I love to capturing protest rallies, and so, and three years ago now, right? 2019. Yeah, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Oh my God, my math is terrible. And I followed a movement and documented for about a year with my iPhone. I wasn't even thinking making a film. I was just making videos along the way, made many videos, and then that results my Jewel Media YouTube channel grew a lot, and then gives you more energy to shoot more. So ultimately, I made a documentary and won, like 3 best feature documentary in 3 countries. So it's like it. Sometimes I always say one thing leads to another. I did that one thing, and then many things happen afterwards. And so it feeds my motivation and meet new people and learning all the time. So I think iPhone or other smartphone, Android has great cameras. So utilize it, and this is the time to do it, not any other time. Thank you very much. Hey, check my Yangon Diary film, okay? Just go there on my Instagram. There's a website, and then leads you to, you can watch the film for a price of a coffee. Thanks a lot.
Ching, thank you. And Ching touched on something that we talked about, low hanging fruit today, and meaning repurpose content. We talked about using like minds content. And the third thing that I think is very low hanging fruit is document. And document could just be, just got done with turning the phone around and saying, just got done with a Clubhouse with my dear friend Tom. Just got done with business meeting with Charlie Cifarelli, had lunch, just climbed this hill on my bike. Or you could go further, like Ching and Tom, and make award-winning documentaries and things like that. And Dr. Tachi is super talented. But the starting point, lowest hanging fruit, turn that camera around and say, this is my piece of pizza. The world, I heard POV be thrown around. The world wants to see the world through your point of view. I've never been to. Go on, Tom. Just can jump in.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, because that's exactly what I'm doing with my training vlog, right? Like, it's a vlog. I'm literally just every day I take out my camera and I record a little bit about what happened that day, how it went, things I learned, things I can share, experiences I can share that maybe other people can benefit from. And it helps for me to hold myself accountable, right? I'm already thinking about, because my Ironman training vlogs are limited, right? I actually haven't done the math to figure out what day is going to be the last day. I mean, I'll obviously probably do a couple of vlogs on race day, but like, today's day 142. Yesterday was day 141, right? So like, it's going to be day 150 something, 160, somewhere around there, whatever, when it finishes it up, like 150 something, whatever. My math I'm not doing the math right now. But my point is this, that like, it was low hanging fruit. It was something I was going to do regardless, right? I was going to do this, and I decided to just take people along on the journey with me, right? In the hopes that, one, it would hold me accountable, and two, that they might derive some value from seeing me go through this process and hearing me talk about what I was going through on a day-to-day basis. And I'm already thinking about, I'm enjoying the vlog so much, and I've gotten so much positive feedback on it. I'm already trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, right? And actually, I am signed up for a marathon in December in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And so I'm switching after a little bit of a break, just a couple of weeks after my Ironman. I'm going to switch modes and go into marathon training. And so I'm just going to keep the vlog going, I think, and document my experience for marathon training. And I might, although it's a very daunting challenge, I might try to go for a Boston qualifying time, and try to qualify for the Boston Marathon. Although that is a huge challenge for a man in my age group, right? Men, I'm 43 years old, so men from 40 to 45 is the age group that I'm in. I have to run like a 3:10 marathon, like a 3 hour and 10-minute marathon, which puts it in the 7-minute, 20-second range per mile for a marathon. So it's a big challenge, and I'm not at all confident that I can do it, but I might try. And and regardless, I'm going to create a vlog about it and take everybody along on the journey. And then I'll just continue it into something else afterwards. But it's low hanging fruit, right? I'm just documenting something I'm doing anyway. There's no reason why everybody else in this room, anybody else listening, watching the live stream, why you can't do the same thing. There's no reason why you can't. You're just not.
Well said, Tom. Thank you. Dr. Touchy, go on.
I'm just co-signing as usual with what he says, just clapping. Excellent.
Good stuff. Okay, we're going to do, all right, let's see here. Felipe, are you clapping or did you want to add?
I'm clapping. I love it. And I feel like that's actually a theme of one of my YouTube channels is I'm so new to data science and I'm like, come learn data science with me. So that's been a piece of my content is just sharing my learning story because I started graduate school at 46. I'll be 48 this year and I'm continuing on with grad school. And so, yeah, I definitely appreciate what you're saying about document.
And so for the truth about me, like you'll see me doing a lot of challenges and athletics and outdoors and stuff. And I am not a perfect person. While I share inspiration and motivation 24/7, help other people, the company does that. I'm not perfect. So this weekend I might have went out and consume too many calories. So when you see me out on the bike next time, I'm trying to work those calories off. Or when you see me out running or doing something, so I try to share the whole journey. And my journey is not a perfect journey. I think it's more pulling the curtain back and saying, I gained 6 pounds this weekend eating fried chicken and maybe beverages or whatever else I may have had. And now I'm trying to run harder today or swim more laps to
Adult beverages?
whatever. Move on.
No, I was just going to say, I think, again, peeling that curtain back or pulling the curtain back, is an important thing to do, and being honest, when you're doing this kind of stuff. Like I had a huge training day last Sunday and I fell apart. And it was really because of the weather. Honestly, it was really, really what happened was it was just way too hot. And I couldn't, I ended up walking. I had a 6-hour bike ride followed by a 1-hour run. And I ended up walking about 45 minutes out of the hour-long run because I couldn't run. It was at a point of diminishing returns where it was going to be bad for me to try to keep doing it. And I was honest about it. I just talked about it, like it's not all roses and sunshine and unicorns and rainbows. Sometimes it sucks and you have to be honest when it does.
No, I love that. One of the things, I guess, in my journey is I've kind of come to the conclusion that I cannot do any traditional work this next year because I'm going from an executive program into like full-time graduate school. And so I've just decided to be on this content creator journey. And I'm like, okay, this is my job, right behind being a grad student. So I think part of it is I've leaned on debt. And now I think the game and the challenge is like, can I become a good enough creator and add enough value that I could actually pay off my student loans in my storytelling journey. And so I think I would like to peel back the curtain on the fact that I am not debt free.
There you go. I think it's fabulous. My LinkedIn post, my last LinkedIn post today was about when I had a restaurant that went bankrupt and closed in 2005. And I thought it was the end of the world. I was embarrassed. I was crushed. I actually took a job about 70 miles away from my house because I didn't want to, I got into sales after that, but I didn't want to have that conversation with people every day where they were like, oh, I came into your restaurant and it was so good. What happened? So peeling back that curtain and letting people know that's the world. That's just is what it is. No, it did not define me. It made me better. Those adversities and hardships, they make us stronger. So Shawana, we are up to you. This is a Shawana webinar. I like your background there. I'm in. I like people that tell me what they're doing in their background. Very cool. I'm not that talented. Shawana, ask a question, drop a tip. You know what we're talking about. Go on.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. I saw the lovely Dr. Tachi in here, and I said, if she's in a space it has to be offering up some form of value. Because we already know, I heard you say that she's a guest over in this space, but she has been a gem to me, being all things media, look, microphones and tech. One of the things I heard just a moment ago, as I'm over here, as I call it, in the lab creating, was somebody was talking about their cell phone and things to do on the cell phone. One of the tips that I would like to add, if it has not been shared already, is really go ahead and get those things out of the drafts. We have a lot of things sitting in our drafts that they are great. And if they're not, you won't know if they don't be published. We have got to put that stuff out there so that we can get the feedback that we're looking for so that we can continue to grow and be better. So go ahead, somebody today, something that's been sitting there for over a week, 2 weeks, possibly a month, hit the button, get that stuff out of the draft. When I was thinking about draft too, because I'm a person that loves uh, all things where I have to find a word and give a meaning to it. So while I was sitting here, I said, drafts, do it, right? If that's a D, do it. The R is regardless, realizing that somebody need what you have sitting in your draft that could help them do something today that will help their future self. My A was apply. Apply what you know. I heard a lot of folks on here talking about education, continuing education, and if we're okay with being life learners, we have to be okay with being uncomfortable as we all are learning, right? So that was my R. And I said my F was figure it out. We can figure it out along the way. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. Let's see, my T, the talking. Stop talking yourself out of it. We've done too much talking. It's now time for us to put some action into some of the things that we have said so that people can see us as producers. We need to be humans doing, not just human beings. And of course, in all things with success, we know that, and we've heard it 1,000 times, success leaves clues. But one of the biggest clues is that those persons have had to do some form of getting into action with it all. So I hope that was helpful for someone. I'm Shawana Kennedy, and I release the mic, sending you love and light.
Shawana, thank you. I love the draft acronym. And Tom, shouldn't we have known any friend of Dr. Tachi's was going to come in and just drop it like it was hot? So, one, I'm thinking Shawana could make a video just on draft. It's yours. You get it. So, do 3-minute YouTube. You on YouTube? I think YouTube. You could do that. I love it. You could have a whole class on that. Now we made her money. Shawana, go for it, man. That is all yours. You're killing it with that. What are our thoughts? Okay, let's Tom. Where are you at with that draft?
I was
Just
just, I
do
mean, I
it.
was just going to say, I love, I just want to make sure that Shawana knows that how much we love Dr. Tachi here, and that she is always in the room. She's always here supporting us, and how much we appreciate her for that, and how much we value her. She is one of the very few people that we've ever invited to guest host when one of us has been absent. So we love Dr. Tachi here. We love having her, and appreciate Shawana dropping by and dropping some knowledge for us. Really, really valuable insight there. Thank you.
And Dr. Tachi also taught me how to use these hearts and things that I'm giving on your profile picture. So I'm going to give Dr. Tachi another heart. There you go. Look, I'm high end. Okay. So, we are to mastering your media, Jason. Okay, hold on. We got Jason and our boy Sid, and then Tom's going to take us home because I've talked enough. That's what I like to say at the end. I got nothing left. I have nothing left. I gave you all I have, and then I lean on Tom because Tom is an Iron Man and he finishes strong. I'm not. Okay, so grab my resources here. Jason Hodge. Let me see more about this. Beautiful profile. Okay, somebody's clapping for you, Tom. My presence, moderation, support, endorsement, health, well-being, wholeness. Jason Hodge, mastering your media. What's that mean, brother? Give us a tip.
Hey y'all. Hey Dr. Tachi, how you doing, sis? This is it really is come down to understanding what your story is. I think sometimes we tend to look at what everybody else is doing, and we don't spend enough time mastering our own stories. So when you're mastering your media, whether it is a business that you are working, it's a matter of running your own lane. What do you have to offer to your marketplace? Because everybody has something very unique. And if you take time with that uniqueness and then figure out, now that I've discovered the uniqueness, how many ways can I get it out there? And who am I speaking to? We oftentimes talk to too many customer focused things. And not that customers aren't great, but you're leaving out a whole slew of your marketplace. There's different segments that you want to talk to. There are folks who open doors for you. There are folks who will buy directly from you, and there are folks who will never buy from you, but they will always support you and be your evangelist behind the scenes. But if you don't prepare your conversation to speak to each one of those segments of your marketplace, then you miss a great opportunity to not have to do a whole lot of heavy lifting in your space. So, in mastering your media, that is a teaching that goes into that. If you have something of value that you've isolated, you can make a podcast, you can make a video, you could have a conversation, but you're moving your media out there in order to impact your marketplace. So that's my share.
Jason, man, come back anytime. You're dropping knowledge, so I receive what you're putting out there. So thank you very much. Glad you saw Dr. Tachi and decided to jump in, man. So
Yeah, we are old Periscope friends.
oh, I was on Periscope for a little bit. Periscope, neat amp. When you talk about
Love
documenting,
Periscope.
yeah, you could document you could document being on the front lines anywhere, and just some apps don't take. Sometimes you get on an app and it just doesn't work out. So
Yeah, and you know what, Dominique? I'll say this real quick is that, a lot of us have content that is, and I've heard folks, and they say my buzzword because I'm a content repurposing specialist. I absolutely love to do that. And if you were to take your content, you may find some really great nuggets. You could put them into a collection, and then that could be something that you run a series on, a minute here, a minute there. But every minute, folks are looking at day in and day out. They're like, wow, they always have a great minute. And if you just have a little bit, like say that you have 12 pieces or you have 20 pieces, you could do a minute a week. And now you got 20 weeks worth of content that people are looking forward to because it's just enough for them to say, I can take that and run with it. And it's enough for you to say, okay, this is the concentrated nugget of wisdom that I have that's going to benefit my marketplace.
Jason, spectacular. And we were really getting into this room today. Uh, Low level, low barrier, content creation, repurposing, how to do it the easiest. People, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. You already did it. So, Jason, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Hey, okay, we're going to our man, Sid Tom. Sid is our last one before you give us this beautiful wrap up. But, Sid, you've been killing it on these videos. Sid's been making a lot of videos. He might say I haven't been making more, but they're on point. They're on message. I have a short attention span, so he's got my attention span right down where I find myself watching them all the time, and you're doing really well with them, Sid. So give us a tip. What do you got going on?
Oh, Dominic, I always appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much for that. It's great to see all of you. Um, you know, I really enjoy doing videos. They're a lot of fun. But the tip I'm going to share, actually, I shared today in my Instagram reel that I did today because I'm involved in a challenge of doing a reel every day for 10 days. So yesterday, Dominic, I was on the phone with somebody. I just reached out to her and said, hey, I want to catch up with you, find out what you're doing. Tell me about this business that you're creating. And because I hadn't talked to her in a while, and the last time I did, she's really cryptic about what it was she was doing. And now she could talk about it. And, being the coach that I am, I just started asking her questions. And, she's starting a business next month. And what I realized through that conversation is she still had a lot of unanswered questions. And so, my tip that I would offer to any entrepreneur, regardless of where you are on your journey, whether you're brand new or you're aspiring or you've been here for a few years, or maybe you're a seasoned entrepreneur, but you're pivoting and you're adding a new product or a new service into your offering, the three questions I think that you have to discover the answers to, and echoed a little bit of what I heard from Jason, which is you got to know who your customer is. You really got to dive deep into knowing who they are everything about them, which leads to answering the second question, which is, what is the solution that you provide them? What solution does your product or your service provide to your customer? Because here's the thing, friends, as much as we hate to admit it, our customers did not wake up today and say, I want to buy Sid's product. They didn't. They woke up today and said, I need to solve a problem that I have in my life and my business. So you got to discover, what is the solution? How are you answering that? And then the third one is really making sure that you understand what differentiates you and your product and your solution from your competition. We all have competitors. We got to be able to know what makes us different and clearly articulate that in our content, our messaging, our websites, our marketing, so that we are attracting the right people into our world. So appreciate the opportunity to share that. It's great to be here with you all today. Thanks, Dominick. Sorry.
Sid, you're awesome, man. And please check Sid out as well. The videos, his content, always great stuff. I've been following him for a while. But Tom, I'm gonna finish with this, and you can wrap us all. I'll be simple here. With, I would say, so many great people in the room, so much great information being shared. Make sure you connect with everybody you can. Follow them on their different platforms. Reach out to them. Send them a DM. Support them. Say, hey, what's up? Good job. Do that. That's all right too. You don't always have to be in it for take. Support. Be social on social. Create a relationship, and who knows where that could go. But thank you, everybody. Tom, I'm telling you, man, that's all I got. I need you. Take us home, brother.
My pleasure. Thanks, Dom. So look, as always, I'm going to say it. Same thing I say every time I wrap up this room. Thank you to everybody who came today. Thank you to all of you for sharing your tips, sharing your knowledge, asking your questions. If it wasn't for all of you, this room would just be me and Dom talking to each other, which is fun, but not nearly, we wouldn't get nearly the value from it that we do from getting to interact with each of you every week. So thank you all, because being in this room every week, I learn something. I'm sure Dom learned something every week from you guys. And we really appreciate each and every one of you for being here, for listening, for watching the live stream, for listening on replays, all of it. We appreciate every single second of it. And then the last thing I want to say is, I was saying before that everybody can document, they just aren't. And I 100% believe that. I mean that. And so as you're thinking about content you can create and how to be more consistent with your content, I would encourage you to think about the journey that you're on right now, right? It may be professional, right? It may be like Philippa was talking about her graduate school journey that she's on right now, and the content creator journey that she's on right now, right? So it could be personal, it could be professional, whatever that journey is. Rather than letting it go by, share it with the world, right? It's that simple. Share your journey and be honest and open. Pull back that curtain and let people see you on the good days and the bad days. And you'll be shocked and amazed at how well that content does for you, right? And the kind of community you can build when you just share a little bit more of yourself with the world. So that's all I've got for this week. Thank you again to everybody for being here. Much love to all of you. Really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you guys. And we will see you not next week, but in 2 weeks, right? On August 24th will be the next regular room. So make sure that you follow the club, you join the club, and you follow us there so that you get alerted. But yeah, we'll see you on August 24th. And please keep me in your thoughts. Follow me on the Ironman app, and wish me luck as I take on my second Ironman race a week from Sunday on the 21st. I'm really excited for it. I put in a ton of hard work, and appreciate all the support from all of you. So thanks again. And that's all I got, Dom. Let's close it up, buddy. We'll close it out in.
All right, let's do it.
Yep,
Follow.
there you
Hey,
go.
I want to say follow club. follow Tom on that. Follow Tom on Instagram, wherever, and support him as he's going to that race. If you
See
can
you.
give the guy some love, do it and say, Tom, share a picture, run a little faster, kick harder when you're in that water, whatever. But
And make sure, thank you, Don, and make sure you stop by if you're around this afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Make
5
sure you stop
o'clock.
by.
I
Make
can't
sure you
wait to
stop by
see
the
you,
live
Tom.
stream conversation with me and Ching.
Yay!
It promises to
Yay!
be very interesting. I
Entertainment.
guarantee.
I think I'm seeing that. Okay, love everybody. We'll see you
Thank you.
later.
Thank you.
Closing it out. See you. 3,
Bye.
2, 1. We're
Bye.
out of here.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.